Welcome back. Tonight, we delve into the unknown with 3 bone-chilling tales that will leave you on the edge of your seat. Brace yourself for a journey through the eerie and the unexplained, as we explore the mysteries that lurk in the shadows of the night. As the train hurtled through the darkened tunnels, the passengers were clustered together, their breaths visible in the cold air. The flickering lights cast eerie shadows that seemed to writhe along the worn, graffiti-covered walls. An unease settled over the crowded carriage, heightened by the distant, unsettling sounds that echoed from the depths of the subway. In the corner of the car, a lone figure remained tense, their gaze fixed on the impenetrable blackness beyond the windows. Abruptly, the train screeched to a halt, shrouding the compartment in an oppressive silence. The flickering lights dimmed further, leaving the occupants in a state of heightened anxiety. Whispers of confusion and concern murmured through the air, the tension palpable. As the passengers reached for their phones, seeking solace in the glow of their screens, an ominous, guttural growl reverberated through the subway tunnels. It was a sound that seemed to slither through the metal, causing a collective shiver to run down the spines of those present. The figure in the corner's eyes darted to the shadows outside, where movement hinted at something lurking just beyond the periphery of the feeble light. The growls grew in intensity, accompanied by the unmistakable sound of something sinister slithering and scraping in the darkness. Panic began to spread through the tightly packed train, as passengers grappled with rising fear and uncertainty. Each feeble beam of light only served to reveal the horrors lurking just beyond the safety of the carriage. With a sudden, blinding flash, emergency lights flickered to life, exposing the source of the spine-chilling sounds. A horde of grotesque, shadowy shapes encircled the train, their twisted forms barely discernible in the dim, pulsating glow. Their elongated limbs terminated in jagged, malevolent claws, and their eyes gleamed with a primal, insatiable hunger. As the train jolted back to life, gaining speed, the shadowy entities matched its pace, their unearthly wails piercing the confines of the tunnel. The passengers recoiled in horror as the creatures scraped and clawed at the train's windows, leaving behind traces of grime and dread. The figure in the corner couldn't shake the feeling that these entities were not of this world, and as the train sped away, a lingering sense of unease remained, as if those terrifying specters still prowled in the darkness, waiting for their next unsuspecting victims. On a moonless night, a weather-beaten bus trundled along a desolate stretch of road, the surrounding landscape cloaked in an eerie silence. Inside the bus, the passengers were huddled together, their weary faces etched with apprehension. The windows rattled softly in their frames, revealing nothing but the impenetrable darkness beyond. Among the passengers was a young woman named Elena, her fingers tightly clutching the frayed edges of her coat. Her eyes were fixed on the road ahead, a sense of foreboding settling in the pit of her stomach. As the bus meandered along the desolate path, it suddenly shuddered to a halt, its weary engine sputtering to a silence that amplified the surrounding stillness. A collective murmur of concern and confusion swept through the passengers as the interior lights flickered and faded, leaving them enveloped in an oppressive darkness. Elena could feel the weight of the unknown pressing in on her, a suffocating presence that seemed to seep through the very walls of the bus. As the passengers fumbled for their phones, seeking a glimmer of light and reassurance, a chilling wind swept through the bus, carrying with it an otherworldly whisper that seemed to echo from the dense forest lining the road. Elena's breath caught in her throat as she peered out into the impenetrable night, her senses on high alert for any sign of the source of the unsettling presence. Suddenly, a flicker of movement caught her eye, a faint silhouette that seemed to materialize from the shadows just beyond the edge of the road. It was a spectral figure, draped in tattered garments that billowed in the night breeze. Its eyes gleamed with an ethereal light, fixing on the bus with an intensity that sent a shiver down Elena's spine. The other passengers recoiled in fear as the figure drew closer, its outstretched hand leaving a trail of frost along the bus windows. As the bus's engine roared to life, lurching forward with a sudden jolt, the figure retreated into the darkness, leaving behind an air of lingering dread that seemed to permeate the very air. Elena couldn't shake the feeling that she had encountered a restless spirit, a lost soul seeking something that lay beyond the realm of the living. The bus continued on its journey, its passengers casting wary glances at the forest that loomed on either side, their thoughts consumed by the mysteries that lurked in the dark. Elena couldn't shake the memory of the ghostly figure, and as the bus carried them away, she couldn't help but wonder if it was still out there, wandering the haunted woods, forever in search of something it could never find. On a fog-shrouded evening, a crowded tram rattled along the tracks, its windows obscured by the thick mist. Passengers huddled together, their breaths creating a ghostly haze in the dimly lit carriage. The occasional flicker of the overhead lights cast eerie shadows that seemed to dance along the faded upholstery. In the midst of the commuters sat a solitary traveler, a man named Ali. His gaze was fixed on the window, straining to discern any trace of the outside world in the enveloping fog. The tram's movements grew increasingly sluggish, and with a jolt, it screeched to a halt, plunging the interior into an oppressive silence. As the lights flickered and died, panic began to spread among the passengers. Ali's heart quickened as he peered into the opaque mist, sensing a presence just beyond the tram's fogged-up windows. A chill wind swept through the carriage, carrying with it a haunting whisper that seemed to echo from the unseen depths outside. Ali's breath caught in his throat as a pale, ghastly figure materialized in the mist just beyond the tram. Its hollow eyes seemed to bore into his soul, and its outstretched, spectral hands clawed at the glass, leaving frosty imprints in their wake. The other passengers recoiled in horror, their voices rising in a cacophony of fear and disbelief. As the tram jolted back to life, the figure dissolved into the swirling mist, leaving behind an aura of unease that lingered in the air. Ali couldn't shake the feeling that he had glimpsed something unearthly, a specter from a realm beyond the living. His mind raced with thoughts of the supernatural, pondering the possibility of restless spirits seeking solace or vengeance in the mortal realm. The tram continued its journey through the fog, the passengers glancing nervously at each other and at the obscured windows, wary of any further manifestations of the unknown. Ali felt a chill settle into his bones, a lingering sensation that the presence he had encountered was still haunting the tram, perhaps waiting for the opportune moment to reveal itself once more. The fog outside seemed to thicken, as if concealing a multitude of ghostly secrets, and Ali couldn't help but wonder what other spectral entities might be lurking just beyond the veil of visibility, their intentions and desires shrouded in the enigma of the night. Thank you for joining us for these spine-tingling stories. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends. Make sure to subscribe to your channel name for more captivating content like this. Until next time, stay curious, stay brave, and never stop exploring the mysteries that surround us. Good night, and sweet dreams.